Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together. Let's do it.
Whoa, this is Muriel. Muriel, this is Kohai.
Your arch nemesis. Oh,
Great.
Astra's gaze is encouraging, sliding between me and Muriel as we exchange a long, apprehensive look. I look up a lot. He looks down, kind of down at me, but also down.
But also down. You know me, or I know you? Now, here's the question.
So, I know you because I've seen you in a dream.
Well, the thing is like...
I feel like Kohai would be like, I know you, not like I know you, I've met you, but just like,
Uh-huh.
I've seen you before, that kind of thing.
Okay, so has this actually been in the game? Because that's why I was like, how far do you want to go with what you do and don't remember from the
See, I'm not going to decide anything for the character that's not been in the game, and since Kohai has recognized this is happening again in the dream, and can mention I had the dream outside of the dream, I feel like they remember. Okay, they don't necessarily think it's very important, as we've talked about before, thematically.
That's true.
But they do remember, so I think it would just be like, I know you.
Holy shit.
It's just like, oh, I know you.
Now that I see your face.
He swings his head over to Asra, giving him a questioning look.
Pop! Swing. Throws head at Asra.
Just uses it like a flail.
Asra!
It doesn't work on them. What doesn't work on me?
Okay, that's okay.
That is not what I expected that to mean.
No, also, that's really, like, forward for your apprentice? What does that mean? Like, usually your character is actually way more passive than that.
And waits a lot for Asra.
I was not expecting Kohai to say anything.
Nope.
So this is why I'm really kind of confused right now, going, what is going on? Go ahead.
I say, yeah, one, that's very proactive, especially for the I was just terrified as hell.
Of
and
this
super
giant
intimidated.
mountain.
And I was afeared of all things, and then suddenly it's the, here, I've introduced you, and now our entire emotional tone has changed, which it might not be as obvious if you're from one episode to the next. And for me, it's like, is that actually the case? But it's like, yeah, a couple seconds ago, last week, we were just terrified and uneasy and completely unsettled by this experience of him towering and looming over and such. Though I am still deeply entertained that we're wearing nothing but Asra's scarf and his coat, so again, we're naked halfway down.
Yes.
Completely. And the coat does not close because it's not the right size. So I love that this is all happening while Kohai is pantsless and just being like, it's that kind of day, this is fine. And everyone's fine with it. Like,
Kohai, I'm just going to take my hair and...
This is canon.
Pull my hair down.
It's not long enough for that.
Oh, that's true. It's not long enough.
No.
Nope. Well, okay.
Kohai's just like, I'm not thinking about it. I was focused elsewhere. Hi. If Astra's not embarrassed, neither am I.
It's fine.
What doesn't work on me?
Huh?
I know him. Deep down, I have a feeling I've met him. Not
I
just...
do know him.
That's what I said. Oh, sorry. I know him. I do know him. This is not what I expected that choice to mean. Not a, I remember you, but a, I know you. See, because I know you, or I recognize you, are very different than I remember you. But also, I remember you from a dream is also a thing. So it didn't specify at all whether it's the, I remember having met you at a point.
That was actually where I was going to be like, I'm afraid that they're not going to think about it as... like,
the dream.
Just the dreams. They're gonna go, hey, if you say this, that actually means that you remember way further than you would have expected.
Interestingly, though, that actually defines your character and lets you choose what their backstory is.
Yes.
And a lot of the other choices don't. Like, there's not an option to say, I don't know how to dance, or I do know how to dance. There's not an option to say, I did learn or didn't learn how to ride horses. There's not an option to say, Asra did or didn't teach me these things. And so having this choice be a, you get to choose whether or not your character has or is able to get these memories back, feels very in contrast, very different than the other choices. Because in bigger choose your own adventure games, ones that are like large RPG games, where you have hundreds of choices and your character is built through, stat and ability points, as well as the, choices they make, creating the new choices they branch from, Dragon Age kind of stuff. You get to decide what your background is by saying what it is, and the other characters go, that's what you've been all along.
Yeah.
You're choosing what is true.
Because it's never been relevant before.
Right.
Which I think is also... Okay, so I'm going to go on a tiny rant. So sometimes I think it's really weird. Like, I know that shit takes a long time, and I get it. And sometimes you really do just want to have basically shorter hand answers. But sometimes it's also really funny where you're like, this seems like a pretty extensive, basically, opinion or a thing about your past that would have been important to know.
In other places
in
or other times.
situations.
Yes.
And now I get to define it when it probably would have been more applicable, way earlier.
And again, that's a matter of opinion in many ways.
Oh, yeah.
But there's also the experience in those games of going, I know that when I choose this, it's me saying what I want my character to be.
Yes.
Not interacting with what is already there. It's character building.
Yes.
And character building hasn't really happened in this game, so this feels weird to me.
Yes. It's also not even really retroactive character building.
I have a feeling I've met him. Not just once, or even a few times. Many times. But I can only bring to mind a handful of recent flashes of memory. 2 dreams. Was it in dreams that we met before? I'm glad we are referencing the dreams, because that is all I've seen in the game.
Correct.
It's too easy to imagine his figure in familiar places, in town, in front of the shop.
Though if you're going to include the prologue, we have actually seen him elsewhere.
It's true, and I appreciate that. That we have
but for each route, it does seem to be like, you won't remember him, you will remember him.
You get to pick.
Like, except that sometimes you literally don't get to pick. We just don't know who he is.
Yeah, I was like...
Because remember with Julian's thing, we were just like, who the fuck is that? Like,
nerd.
What?
Huh?
That is a whole mountain and clouds.
That is an entire landscape. Oh, look, a big...
Look, another one! Julian, holy shit, how do you get away with it?
So,
Wrong
what is
answer.
interesting about what Kohai just said suggests that while Kohai has been growing up, that Muriel has been basically consistently lurking around the edges of Astra's life. Like, either in a, I'm sort of, not in a negative way, but I'm sort of stalking you, like I'm kind of just being around your life, like internet stalking,
Right.
just continuing to be aware of what's going on.
Right.
Or also just I'm on the peripheral, like I feel I'm not allowed in, but I continually want in, so I'm always there. Or in that way of going, I'm kind of guarding, I'm kind of caretaking, I'm kind of being here just in case. I don't know what in case, and I don't know what my skills are, but I'm here in case.
What if Muriel's mostly there because of Asra? So remember how Asra keeps disappearing?
Mm-hmm.
So Muriel's been showing up literally to caretake for us in place of Asra?
Yeah, to be like, I need to watch the baby while you're gone.
Watch my baby while I'm gone, okay? Bye, love you!
Or just, go hi, you'll be just fine. Disappears. And Muriel is like,
No,
they
no,
are
no.
not just fine.
No, well, and that's also the other option,
Without
too.
speaking at all, Muriel just shows up. It's like someone who's got a brand new
Muriel,
puppy,
I know you cannot do this.
but has never had dogs before, ever, and is like, I have taken care of you, you have fed, you have rested, you have gone to the bathroom outside. Now I'm leaving for a week, it'll be great, I'll see you soon.
Bye!
And then the other person that is the neighbor is like, and I'm going to break into your house and carefully take care of your dog while you're gone. And then I will leave when you get back and you'll have no idea this happened. You'll be like, see, we're just fine. What a good puppy you are.
Sigh.
Anyway, that's an interesting prospect. And I kind of am deeply entertained at the idea that Julian was like, you left the baby home alone.
Muriel.
So, sorry, Muriel. I knew what I meant. That Muriel's just like, you left the baby
I
home
understand
alone.
they're both tall, but
So
they are
I am
different.
going to watch them.
Hello! It's very important. You need to be able to tell the two of us apart.
I'm afraid I can't.
Why?
I'm just tall and in the shadows. Got nothing.
Nerd. For one, you stink more.
For one, you are less clean, but you are both pretty unclean, so... One of you smells more like leather.
The other one smells more like
Starch?
And you smell like blood. It's harder than usual to remember him, huh? It's not you. It's a spell. Muriel's curse.
My gift. That's maybe forgotten. Completely alone. Exactly like I wanted.
Oh, excellent.
He says he wanted this. Neat.
Niece, Asra, curse, Muriel. Don't speak for me.
Do not tell me what my experience is. Asra, I decide what your experience is constantly.
All the
I don't
time.
care.
People see him, can talk to him, but they don't remember him when he leaves.
Him. That way, no one ever says, oh, hello, you've come back to my market stall. How are you? He's like, I do not ever have to do small talk because I am a brand new person every time. And I'm huge and intimidating, so don't ask me shit.
I honestly, wouldn't you feel like, though, that Muriel would have terrible deals, like, almost constantly, because he had no rapport?
The thing is
with the
he
people
would
there?
have no ability to barter. Headcanon. I think Muriel pays absolutely full price for everything in a marketplace that is heavily tilted on bartering, because he doesn't want to speak to people. So if they're like, yeah, 14 guilders for something that usually costs 3, because they're pissed off, or he's new and they expect to barter, or they're setting up to barter, because that's what you do.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, okay. Drops it and grabs the thing and leaves. And they're like,
and also because he doesn't want to
What?
talk to people, so he's really
What?
just like, yep.
hang on! And sometimes they run after you and try to shove more in your hand, and then they forget what they were doing. And why am I holding these cabbages?
Yeah, pretty much. The cabbage. And then, but,
When he
people
leaves.
can see him, but they don't remember him when he leaves.
I know a spell that does something similar. It doesn't take much magic, but all the time.
Wow, you just have spells for literally fucking anything as long as it's interesting.
Even to blow out a candle. Nope, they have to use a
Put
spell.
one sock on. Put the other sock on. Put underwear on. Put topwear on.
Spell for each individual garment.
Uh-huh.
Spell to eat your porridge. Spell to make your porridge.
No wonder people got
Kohai
tired
has
of learning
never
magic.
literally picked up a spoon in their life. It just had to learn the spell. So Asra feeding them with magic with a spoon for the bite.
Kohai,
So,
this is how you eat.
Kohai, until I can do the spell to lift the spoon to my mouth, I can't eat on my own.
Unless I stick my face in the pot.
And since Asra did that,
Yes.
I guess that's a thing. I wonder what made him want that. Whatever kind of glance I sent his way, he doesn't like.
You don't know what expression you want to try to have while you look at this person?
Meaning-
you don't feel, I feel curious as I look towards Muriel, and he seems grouchy in return.
Sometimes it's I went into deep thought while I was staring at him. Oh, whatever face I was making, he doesn't seem to like it because you don't think about your face.
Yeah, okay, that's
You're
right.
not
And
making
that
an
doesn't
expression
sound
of it.
like that's what that said. Does that make sense? Like that?
Yeah, but I thought that was what I thought of.
Okay.
I don't know if it actually said that, but that's what I thought of.
Sorry we dropped in on you like this. Oh, why don't we heat up some water and clean the Nana's face?
Hi, sorry we dropped it on you like this. Gestures to Kohai, who is half naked.
Also, Asra, according to this, is also naked.
I mean,
We have mentioned that he took off all of his clothes and he hung them up.
yeah, and then he pulled them down and dressed you.
You can't fit in all of his clothes, and it sounds
No,
like all
but
they
he dressed
gave
you only in those two things. Didn't it say he put some of his clothes back on? Question mark?
I don't recall.
I don't.
I love the fact that everybody's just running around naked, but also, okay, so culturally, it makes sense. So if you don't have, like, different cultures really do have different experiences with nudity.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like, all your clothes are fucked up, of course you're naked. Like, you might have, like, a wrap or something, because that's the best you can do, but it's not like anybody's really going to tear you apart for it, because it's like, today is washing day. Today is the day that everything got dirty. Everybody, cool.
Or like,
It's not that big a deal because bodies aren't as sexualized until it is within the context of sex.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that really pisses me off about, especially an American viewpoint. So I'm talking about the United States here. Is a lot of people go, oh my God, naked! It just instantly means sex. And I'm like, we're so deeply overly sensitive to naked bodies.
that we aren't able to just see people without their clothes on without freaking out.
And it's really frustrating. And some of that actually feels kind of like it might be sort of present here, which is weird. And I'm not saying you couldn't have a culture like that, but I'm also like, to me, it appears like Asra's from a different culture and Muriel's from a different culture. I don't even know where they're from, to be honest. And Julian's from a different culture for sure.
He's confirmed, and we know Nadia's also from a different culture. This is again, Port Town, hella melting pot.
Hella melting pot.
But
So I'd
we
be
don't
like,
know
you
where
would
they're all
have
from.
so many fucking different standards. And especially like, what if Muriel has different standards and Asra have different standards? Because they've been around each other for so goddamn long. So they might even have something that's even more abstract compared to the quote social norms that have sort of boiled together in this particular area.
I also have to say that I think it's really funny that Nix Hydra assumes that just his scarf and his jacket will make you fully clothed enough for this conversation, no matter what your character looks like.
No matter what.
Also, like, assume you wanted a giant-ass, beautiful Bara with dad energy to date Asra.
Yeah.
That person would never fit into any of his clothes. Puts it on you. You wear the coat as a scarf and the scarf as a scarf. Because it can't cover anything.
The tiniest.
It's just a drape around your shoulders long ways.
Tiniest of little like hip wrap.
But he puts it on your shoulders for you.
Yeah, no, I know.
So that's where you have it. It's just, so you can't put it on shoulder-wise because your shoulders are too broad, right? So you turn it sideways and use it like a piece of cloth.
Right.
And the sleeves are just on one side and the bottom's on the other side. And you
Yeah.
just have it like a tiny, tiny shawl.
So weird.
But the thing is going, in this scene, unless your character is smaller than Asra or about the same size, they are very exposed, but also they're still extremely naked, just wearing basically a housecoat.
Well, there's also the thing, too, that even as
And
my
it
friend has
doesn't have a
pointed out,
sash, like a robe.
Asra's clothing doesn't really cover him either.
Yeah.
So you're still naked.
It's a little bit wild.
It's very funny.
That it wasn't considered in that way, going, is Asra's coat actually a garment like a robe that you can close or button or cinch up in any way? And if not,
is it like a long waistcoat, basically?
are you holding it closed the entire time? Or if you don't hold it closed, is it just like
flapping open to the
tits
wind?
out kind of day?
Yeah, right? Tits and full frontal out.
Full frontal nudity.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You're back.
Or you
to
flip
modest.
it around. And there's a hospital gown look for days.
Yep. Where is it backwards? It's fine. But I think it's really interesting that that wasn't covered here at all. It's like you're completely naked and you put on these two things.
And they must
that,
fit you.
according to the visuals, don't cover the front of him ever. And that's all you're wearing to this entire scene.
And whatever that is, it gives you enough modesty for it to be considered either appropriate or not worth mentioning.
Yeah, not worth mentioning. So in this entire thing. Okay.
Yep.
So,
in on this face.
Muriel goes to fetch a spherical pot, so heavy it scrapes the stone.
It's that thing.
Absently, I stare at the fire. How do you fetch that thing? Also, did Asra actually put the log on the fire?
No, he hasn't moved away from the door.
I do not remember him putting the log on the fire, so I don't know that there is a
Fire to start on.
to stare at.
To begin.
Oh, absently, I start the fire.
Yeah, start the fire.
Okay, yeah, there was
So
no fire.
somehow Asra has gotten
Also,
over there.
again, it scrapes on the stones, so how would you propose that someone stand up a spherical pot? It has no base, it will roll any direction. It's a pot that cooks like a wrecking ball. It's boiling like a wrecking ball.
Muriel's aesthetic.
I'm also just like, you can't set that down. There is no setting it down. Also, if the lid is basically a pressure cooker hooks on kind of lid with, the chain then holds it from the lid.
Ooh.
Then you can't set it down anywhere to open it because it's going to roll and the whole thing is hot.
No, I was going to say, so if it's one of those where you push it in and then you turn it and then it locks, you could say, okay, I can pick it up and down,
Yes.
but I literally can't take it off because it'll burn the shit out of me.
Yeah, unless the rest of the pot isn't hot. Anyway, start the fire.
It's fine. Start the fire on yourself.
When I look up,
He is incredibly fucking ragey.
I see that he is watching me. Face stark in shadow. His smoky aura prickles with tension. Apparently, I cannot see his expression as well as the reader because I would be very uncomfortable about how pissed off he looks.
Yeah, like...
But he is just dark in shadow, and
that is a profoundly, like...
he seems tense.
Angy face.
His energy seems tense.
The energy waves, man, they just like...
Okay, there's a TikTok that has...
I can see the little tense.
that has free real estate in my head where someone just swings in and she's just like, I need a white woman with a nose ring to tell me what planet it is that's causing me all this trouble, okay? And you get this like middle-aged, like exhausted looking woman with a really cute nose ring just going, it's Earth, honey. Honey, it's the Earth. and if you're not familiar
such a fucking good TikTok.
with astrology, then it won't be as funny. But if you do know astrology,
especially the culture around
it, it's fucking amazing.
Oh god!
Just like swings in and be like, and you're picturing this, young and artistic looking and very beautiful, and person going, yes, let me read the signs for you or tell you what you're in rising, which house you're in, and you just get this deeply tired, exhausted looking woman who probably got her nose pierced when she was 15, kind of thing. It's 30 years later going, it's the Earth, honey. The Earth.
The Earth is fucking everyone.
Yeah.
When
he swings the pot over the fireplace and retreats to the corner where Inanna is lying in watch. Asra gives him a curious glance and crouches beside me, waving a hand over the pot to fill it with water. I whisper into his ear. 1, if the pot hangs by its lid, you can't tell he's filling it with water, so that's an assumption that the reason he waved his hand was to fill it with water. 2, where did he pick up the spherical pot from? It's been over the fire the entire time in the illustration. Not that you have to be that specific, but I thought it was there the whole time. And also, if he picked it up from somewhere, this is clearly a very familiar ritual of he and Asra sort of living together or being there all the time.
Right.
Of going, I'll just put the pot on and I don't have to do anything with it because you're going to fill it with water.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of neat in with him indicating, we used to do this kind of thing constantly all the time.
Yes.
And then going, Muriel is so comfortable with this routine, even being super uncomfortable with the apprentice there. He's like, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
And just does it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
I whisper into his ear. How do you know him? How do I know him?
I know him. Mm-hmm.
I would be more interested in how he knows him, to be honest.
Honestly, that would make more sense.
Because
Kohai
wants to know more about Asra.
Yes, so we've been trying this entire time. Will you answer me some questions about yourself? What's going on, please?
All I want to know...
How do you know him?
Hey, Asra.
How do you know him?
I think you are amazing and fantastic and wonderful. Could I know some things about you?
Like,
and
how
Asra
you know
goes,
Muriel?
No.
Ah.
No. Let me distract you with something else. Let me talk about something unrelated.
If we could have answers, that would be really nice.
So I would like to know, how do you know him?
Oh, we met a long time ago. It's a funny story.
Is it?
I'll tell you another time. He doesn't like hearing it.
Oh, you could whisper it to me because the fire is loud and he is far away, and I whispered to you. It's not a funny story.
Well, maybe it will be someday. It's only been, what, 15 years?
I love that Astra is like, let me describe the nature of reality, and continually Muriel is like, that's not it. It's like, Asra, I am in my own world, and I have the opinions of the universe. Muriel, and you are wrong.
Stop that.
Quit. 15 years. 17. 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so we're saying they probably knew each other when they were little kids. So what are we saying they are now? Maybe like...
So if it was 17 years
early
ago...
20s?
Well...
Early mid-20s?
I was going to say, how... Maybe? The thing is 17 years ago and you had to be old enough to actually meet. So you need to be like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to be at least in your 20s, but probably more.
Yeah.
Also, how long have they lived together, known each other? Did they meet each other and then live together because then they'd have to be even older?
Right.
So that kind of thing, but I don't know.
This is just specifically they met each other.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So that was when they first
I don't
met.
think it necessarily gives an indication other than they're both adults and they are not children.
No, and that's totally fine. I imagine actually, so based on what my understanding is, that the profiles actually have their age on there.
Oh.
So this lets you kind of know their age range.
Oh, and when they met, if you could figure it out.
Yeah.
If you can do math.
If you can do very, very small addition, which I am
Or
sometimes
subtraction.
Or subtraction.
Because if it tells their
See,
age,
I can math.
and you take 17 years off it.
Shut up! Add 17!
So, when they were 74 years
So
old...
you're 26 right now, so if you add 17...
when they met when they were 43.
What?
and then they've gotten younger since then.
Oh, look, it's Benjamin Button!
It's fine. It's Jeremy Bearimy, it's fine.
It's fine, it is Jeremy Bearimy.
17. So, he's known Asra longer than even my most distant memory.
Hang on.
By
3
5
years?
or 6 times. No,
I
much.
my most distant memory. You bitch! You're acting like you're decades old when you are 3 years old.
My most distant memory.
Most distant?
Yes! 17 is a lot bigger than 3, you're right.
You're correct!
You know what? Kohai can do the math.
Kohai can math. Kohai is like... Okay, so I think it's so funny because I really do honestly remember when I was a little kid and I would be like, oh my god, these adults, they're so old! Like when I was 16 and somebody was like 21 or something, and I would just be like, hey, you're so old. And then now actually I'm like that age, I'm like, oh my god.
You look so fucking young.
You're so young. But also, like, at the same time, that's not much time. Which is also one of those where you go, holy shit, we have some really high expectations put on us for so many years. And then to be able to get out of that and then supposedly go immediately into have the real life and have the adult life and do all these adult things.
I just moved
sounds
out.
fucking insane.
I need to be able to do everything immediately and no longer have any support.
Know how to career, know how to taxes, know how to do any of that shit when they
Know
won't
how
fucking
to
teach you in school anymore.
Change a light bulb.
They
You
don't
know you're an adult when you have to go shopping for a light bulb.
Yes.
Anyway, if anyone has not shopped for a light bulb, or if they've ever had a light bulb burn out, it hasn't have been intimidated about changing it or had any trouble, one of the easiest ways to do it is to take the bulb out, while the light is off, preferably, and take it with you to the hardware store or other store,
Yes.
and then match the number on the top of it to whatever's in a box. And then you don't have to remember or choose anything, and you just take that back with you and screw a new one in.
Yes.
Because one of the
While it's still
biggest
off.
things is, and even if it is on, it's not going to hurt you as
No,
long as you
no,
hold the glass.
but it would.
But preferably,
while
it's
it's
while
off,
it's off.
because sometimes, depending on the type of light bulb you get, they actually heat up pretty quickly.
there can
So you
also
can
be
hurt yourself.
I would say some of them can also it can shorten the lifespan of the bulb to turn
Yes.
it in, plug it in while it's turned on.
Anyway.
All right, I would say, but I always had the thing when I was young of being around lots and lots of adults, because as an introvert you get dragged around with your parent a lot
Yes.
because you don't hang out with your friends.
But I still
Or
thought
you
they
don't
were
hang out
old
with
and
friends?
also incredibly fucking frustrating, even though like I never really got along very well
And
with
so
kids who were younger than me.
my first real world huge crush
Right.
was on someone 5 years older than me
Uh-huh.
when I was 15.
Mhm.
So I was 15 and he was 20. And it didn't occur to me that that was a problem at all. Of course, I didn't want anything from it. It was just, holy shit, all of that. Yes, please.
Well, it's just one of those where you go, it's sort of like in, if you guys haven't seen the movie Turning Red, there's a very fun thing there where basically you have this young girl who's basically like, she's like 13 or 12.
She's 13.
She's 13.
She's 13.
May, she specifically goes through more or less a sexual awakening kind of thing
Experience, like
throughout the movie. And there's this recognition that she goes, oh, people are hot kind of thing. And it's interesting because she does get crushes on people who are older than her, right? And there's a thing of just like, there's no shaming, there's no going, it's inappropriate. Like her mother tries to confront her about it and tries to shame her about
Well,
it. But it's
cries to
presented
confront-
as her mom trying to do that and also going, that's inappropriate. And May's like, Mom, it's not real. Like, it's not actually happening. It never happened. Like, because her mom finds some art of it that she'd made up.
I was just say, the thing is it's, kids don't necessarily want from relationships what adults want from relationships.
Not even slightly.
In any way. And having a crush doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
Yeah,
But
crushes are not entitlement,
I was saying,
or that
but
means that something's
the
going to happen.
point that I was getting to
Yes.
was where you went, they're so old. I didn't think even someone who was 25 when I was 15 was old. And when they're like, I'm so old, I'm like, you are a fucking bitch. Because I expect to live until I'm 6,000 years old and you are a baby. Me, 10 years younger than you. I think you are a baby. That was me as a child.
No, that's fair. But it would also depend. Sometimes I ran into people who I was like, yeah, I really feel like I'm your age or, you know, whatever, or I'm older than you. Like, I also got the weird thing, though, too, of being like, wow, you're so mature for your age. Or,
I
you know,
hated that one because every time anyone said that, it meant, now I can get something from you.
yep.
Every time, especially a man says, you are so mature for your age, it means that line is, I get to have more access to
Instead
you.
of going, wow, you're very aware. You have, you know, learned some things that I hadn't expected from people your age. This is great. Could you help me with this particular task?
The stories they must share. If I want to hear any of them, I imagine it won't be from Muriel. He lingers in the corner, listening.
We lived around the wharf, mostly, which by that I mean that I'm going to partially tell you the story, just so you know. There were a lot of orphans living there back then.
So when you say we are in a port town, there's one wharf. It is the wharf. And I know what that is?
Okay, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, correct. So it was hard to be lonely, and sleeping on the beach is fun when you're a kid. It wasn't so bad.
So, if we're gonna get a little bit less bright and friendly here, I have to say that homeless cultures in warm, humid places tend to be a lot healthier than places that get really cold.
Yes.
So, in California, the homeless culture is much more cared for and safe, if you will. Because lots of food just grows on trees, grows on the streets, because everything's so, in many places, despite their drought, in general, there's a lot more humidity, a lot more water, and it doesn't freeze during the winter like a deep, hard freeze.
It also actually doesn't get too hot either, which is the big concern as well, because you can die then on the flip side of heat
And this is
stroke
specifically
rather than cold.
along the coastal parts of it, not
Yeah.
just all of California, because obviously there's some huge deserts in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, like coastal California and coastal, like Florida, homeless culture is much safer. And yeah, you can just sleep on the beach and sort of live safely during the night and stuff like that.
You
Now,
can catch crabs,
now,
you
of
can
course,
catch fish.
there's all the laws and the political, elements of it. But in a place where they don't necessarily have the same taboos or the same kind of legal controls against it, if you will, of going, we're not going to give you a house, we're going to tell you you can't be as you are. And there's no way to fix it except for you need to stop that. Thanks. I'll just not exist in front of you. Oh, good, you've stopped. No, I haven't. I'm doing it elsewhere.
I'm just
Anyway, so I recognize what Asra's talking about here completely.
Yes, that actually sounds very familiar to me too. And sleeping on the beach is fun when you're a kid. It wasn't so bad.
It was bad. Hey, Asra, I see everything with rosy-colored glasses in my own opinion from my own experience. Muriel, and you are wrong.
Asra, I had a good time. You are having a good time. You just burned.
Kids are capable of fathomless cruelty. You had friends, I didn't.
Asra, yes?
Correct. Because you hated people.
Because you hated... You've always... You know what? I sense a theme. Muriel hates people.
Muriel,
that is who you are.
I believe you are a profound, deep, innate introvert.
Yes.
And therefore, being in large social situations is never happy or good for you.
Like, it's not like you actually dislike people, but because it's the fact that you're hanging out with me, and I tend to have a lot of people around me,
Because despite the fact that I don't want anyone near me at all, and I'm extremely socially and emotionally, I'm emotionally unavailable, I'm very socially available. I'm present. When I am here, I'm in large groups, and I am in the center of attention.
I like the center of attention.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Everyone will pay attention to me, which is why he did that damn stunt with Nadia.
Yes.
Pay attention to me.
Ha! That's for sure. Especially when they're hungry.
Phew, the shock. Yeah. When you're trying not to die, you can be really aggressive. Interesting how that works.
Ah! Survival makes you grouchy.
So I'm gonna share a thing real quick. This has been apparently...
You're not yourself when you're hangry. Like, really?
I was gonna say... so I've had a few friends in my life that have been like, Lies, you have the most insane work ethic I've ever seen of anyone. You never call off. You always work hard. You are like 100% in, like almost all the time. You're deeply proactive. You're never even late to work. You follow all the rules. What the hell? For me, those things are a matter of life and death. It doesn't matter where my financial situation is. In my mind, the way I have seen job, which is the source of money, is a matter of life or death. So if I think about calling into work, I go, you do not get paid, which means death. Now, it doesn't mean death right then, but the cumulative experience of not having money means death. So the way I have a work ethic that I have had people be baffled at the astounding nature of just how dedicated I am is because of terror of death and an understanding of if you don't have money in the society, you die.
Capitalism says if you don't have money, you are worthless. Because human life actually, despite what the Constitution says, is not inherently full of worth.
I was to say, and so for me, when I work ethic, it isn't out of a strong sense of duty. It isn't because I love my job so much. It isn't because I just want to be the best employee ever. It's because that is a matter of survival. And I have known people who are like, yeah, if I have $15 in my bank account, that means I'm doing fine because I'm not in active debt right now. Like, I'm not great, but I made my rent and I'm okay. Yeah. And like, I have food in the fridge and I'm like, that is not okay. You have zero in savings. You have $30,000 of student debt. You have a loan on your car. That is not okay. If anything happens, well, yeah, but right now nothing is happening, so I'm doing okay.
Yeah, so it's fine.
And then next month, something happens. And I'm like, that is not okay for me. I can't function like that.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
It's deeply dangerous for me. Anyway, so that is how I maintain the if you don't go to work, you die. And that makes me a really good worker.
Great!
Such healthy psychology.
This is Lies and Scandal. Welcome to Not Healthy Psychology.
When they're hungry, yes!
When they're hungry! Speaking of which, I don't see any food anywhere.
That is an excellent observation to end this on, because there is nothing in Muriel's house except the table, the pot, the piles of fur, and the weird little statue.
Yeah, actually. Oh, and then the little arm coming out from the hearth.
That's not an object because it's attached.
Oh, that's fair.
That's a piece. That's a fixture.
Well, if I beat it, it'll become an object.
I didn't say the shelf because it's part of the architecture.
That's fair. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And I appreciate, honestly, all of you who have done so far. It has helped us a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and we love having the new people here that we've seen. We love hearing from you guys. Please feel free to comment. I know we're behind on commenting.
But we do read them all, and we love them.
We do. We read them to each other loudly.
And the reason we don't answer for a long time sometimes is because we always answer them together. And so when we do an answering session, it has to be both of us there so we can decide together what our communal answer is, even if we both have very different opinions on something.
Yes, and
so sometimes it takes a while, but we do read, we do hear, we do think about it.
Yes, absolutely. But then other than that, if you would like to also go check out our Ko-Fi, Patreon, and our Twitch, there are links in the description. We'd love to see you there. And I have been Scandal.
And one thing about YouTube, in case you do not know, is if you respond to someone else's comment, we don't get an alert.
It's true.
So if someone has made a comment and you, a viewer, have responded to it, we don't know unless we happen to go there and look at it.
Yes.
So feel free to add us if you want us to see it and also see your opinion, and then it will alert us.
Yes.
Just so you know. And I have been Liz. And it was great playing with you. Bye!